Meantime, we've got some breaking news on the tariff front. I mean, the news doesn't stop these days. Fast and furious. CTV can confirm that there has been a call now between our Prime Minister and Donald Trump. Let's bring in CTV's Mike Le Couteur, who's standing by in Ottawa with some of the details. Mike, what do we know here?
Yeah, we know the call just wrapped up a few moments ago between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. On the Canadian side, we're not exactly sure who is on the call with the Prime Minister, but we do know that Vance, the Vice President, and Howard Lutnick, who is, of course, the Commerce Secretary, on the call for the U.S. side. Tariffs, obviously, at the heart of the matter here, Todd. They are trying to find a way forward, the Canadian side is, to make sure that they can get to some place where either the tariffs are lifted or lowered or something of the sort. We know how much Prime Minister Justin Trudeau sent that message directly to not only Americans, but to U.S. President Donald Trump yesterday, saying that this is a bad move and this will hurt people on both sides of the border. Also, earlier today, there have been a number of media appearances by Howard Lutnick, that Commerce Secretary, talking to different media organizations, saying that maybe a negotiation could happen where the tariffs would be lessened on certain products, perhaps some carve-outs here and there. It's interesting, Todd, because we've also heard from Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who said, no, it's all or nothing. This is not going to be that type of negotiation. We are still talking to our sources to try and figure out more details about that call and exactly either who was on it for the Canadian side or the tone and tenor of it, to see exactly if there is a path forward here between the two sides. We know from the past that Donald Trump and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau have been able to get to a deal on a number of things. You know, you think about CUSMA, the new NAFTA, and working things forward. And the Prime Minister has always talked about how the two leaders have been able to get big things done, as he puts it, and really sort of playing to Donald Trump in that way and explaining how they have been able to benefit people on both sides of the border, both populations. So you'd have to think that that was part of the conversation as well. It'd be interesting to see exactly what comes out of this, since Canada has taken such a hard line in the last 24 hours, Todd, and since that will start to be felt, as we saw yesterday with the stock market that took a huge dip. And we know that that is something that Donald Trump looks at as well.
He absolutely does. We're also hearing from Reuters the idea of a carve-out for the auto sector, maybe for 30 days after a call. No doubt the top heads of GM and Ford and Stellantis, Chrysler, basically saying, look, this is going to doom our industry. We need a carve-out. So we're hearing that could be possibly in the works. Very hard to keep up with everything that's going on. And of course, as you know, Mike, you cover politics. Justin Trudeau really only has about 5 or 6 days left as Prime Minister.
And that's just it. And, the conversation and the questions about how much he can still do and how he sets up this country going forward after he hands over the reins, whenever that happens. We understand that the process is supposed to happen in the days following the Liberal leadership contest ending and the naming of a new leader. And so how will that actually roll out? But certainly Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wants to make sure that wherever he leaves the party in this country is in a good position, so that whoever has to take over that negotiation isn't coming in a position where they have to try and get some sort of tariffs, out of the way. And, to your point about the automotive sector, we've had Flavio Volpe a number of occasions on CTV News Channel, the head of the Automotive Parts Association, talking about how, the industry would essentially shut down as a result of this because of how interconnected they are, the supply chain. We've heard that stat over and over again, how a car part, before it's put in a vehicle sold in North America, crosses the Canada-US border about 6 times. So it's not like you can say exactly where all the parts are from, because of how much has really gone into it from both sides of the border. So that was likely part of this conversation as well, in talking about how maybe a carve-out could be on the table. And again, we're going to continue to follow this and bring you the very latest when we have it, Todd.
The news is certainly interesting these days, isn't it, my friend?
It always is, Todd. It always is, but especially at this time.
Unbelievable. Mike Le Couteur joining us with the latest from Ottawa. Call happening between Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau. Thanks, Mike.